Hello, everybody, and welcome to In the Doll World, a show spotlighting the passion and the people of the doll community. With your host, me, Georgette Taylor, former vice president and co-founder of Big Beautiful Dolls, and Tammy Fisher, owner of Curiositeej Dolls and Collectibles. Join us as we talk to and feature fascinating new dolls and doll artists, from avid collectors to repainters, redesigners, bloggers, authors, filmmakers, and all the people in between as they share their journeys, give us glimpses into their processes and what propels their passion and drive that help to keep the doll world moving and shaking. Here are your hosts, Georgette and Tammy.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on In the Doll World. I am here today with my wonderful, beautiful host, Miss Georgette Taylor.
Hey!
Hey! And we have a special guest today, Mr. Christian
Hi.
HeXtian. Hey!
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Hey, sweetheart. We are so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you are one of my most favorite doll artists.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Thank
I
you.
love your art. And you are one of those people who's been popping up in some of the interviews with some of the other doll artists. So it's like,
Wow.
you are, yeah.
Thank you.
People
Thank you
are
to
noticing
those.
you. Yeah. We had a brief conversation with Joey Versailles. He's credited with being the first doll artist to make a 3D printed doll.
Wow. I saw, and they were really, really great. And I love the style of it, you know?
Yeah, Mary Magpies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
It's like vintage. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he spoke about you. We had a brief conversation in his interview about you, and it's like, I got to reach out and see what's going on over here, because this young man is really getting the attention of, some people in the game.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we're excited.
We're excited too.
Yeah, we're meeting some cool people. So let's get started where we normally start, and that is, tell us about your history with dolls.
Yeah. Well, as a K child, growing up, I've always obviously loved dolls. I already knew. There was no question about it. I grew up with my grandmother also. So I would say she was my first fashion icon, you know? And my aunt, she's in the States and we were in the Philippines, and she had leftover dolls, like Barbies, like from the 80s or 90s. And I remember playing with them, breaking them though, because I think I played with them when I was too young, where you don't care about toys at all. So I broke them. And then when I came to an age where I appreciate dolls and I was like, I want dolls, they're already broken. The neck pegs were gone. Yeah. So, at that time, I can't just be like, can I buy a doll? So I was just like in the shadows playing with these broken toys, putting makeup on them. And yeah, I mean, it's always been a fascination of mine playing with dolls and dressing up dolls. And then coming to the States, I discovered BJDs, like specifically the Asian made ball jointed dolls, like from Fairyland. And I was like, wait a minute, you can change their eyes, you can give them makeup, you can change the clothes. And the clothes weren't like traditional, like a top and a skirt. They were like princess type of clothing. I mean, they were very Japanese Harajuku fashion type of styles. And I was so fascinated by them. I would look up YouTube videos of people ordering them, and it was very romanticized, even though they were like, I ordered this from Fairyland and it took a year to get here, but now it's here because, these dolls, they're not mass produced. You have to pre-order them, and they're made of resin. So they have to do all of that. And it was just so fascinating when people were ordering them. And I was just like sitting there watching all of these unboxing videos. And then I think I stumbled upon the same owners doing the same face-up technique on Monster High dolls. And that's where like the BJD techniques and the toy dolls kind of came together in, in my head and obviously for others. One of the people that I credit the most where I learned was Andrea from Nicole's Dreams on YouTube. There's this blog, No Nap Time, and they have tremendous, amazing tutorials on how they do this. You know, the materials that you need, Mr. Super Clear, and all of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. And so I did.
I'm going to interrupt you. I should have interrupted you
Yeah.
probably earlier, but I loved hearing what you were saying. Explain Harajuku to people who don't know what it is.
So it's just a fashion, it's a street in Japan. So it's like where you guys can just dress the way you want to dress. And I'm trying to think of a similarity or a comparison here in the US, but I really can't think of any. Maybe San Francisco, maybe
That's
New
what I was
York.
thinking.
Yeah. So Harajuku fashion is just an umbrella term for so many other subcultures in them. That's what they call it in terms of style.
And a lot of the Harajuku that I have seen has been really colorful. So it's people are playing with like lots of either pastels or really vivid colors.
Well, because in Japan as a culture, I think, and I may be wrong, but I believe that people go to school 6 days a week, like including Saturday, I believe. So there's only one day for them to really go all dressed up,
Right.
if I'm correct. Yeah. And I think that's the Sunday where everyone just meets up in that street of Harajuku, dressed the way they want to dress. I mean, some of these are obviously to Western culture borderline costumes, So think of like just drag queens or like cosplayers coming together. It's like a convention almost.
Right.
But yeah, there's so many subcultures like Lolita, which is always kind of referenced with the movie, but it's not. Where it's all like princess dresses, cupcake dresses, and so on. So it's
lots
fun.
of tutus. I mean, the big standout dresses.
Yeah. Like Victorian inspired. Those are the ones I love. But I do know the ones you're referencing with the colorfuls, rainbowy. Those are, I think, deco inspired. But yeah, it's fun. So if you guys are like wanting eccentric fashion, definitely look up Harajuku fashions and all of its subcultures.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that people knew what that was. You were telling us about you started with the Monster High. You saw people doing Monster High and the BJD dolls and how they were doing the face-ups.
Yeah. So I started with, well, at first, because, when you're starting something, you don't, in terms of materials, you don't want to go all out sometimes. And for repaint, it really is about the Mr. Super Clear. Are you guys are familiar with that, right?
Yes, it's a spray varnish.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that was just very, very prevalent in the face-up community, like when they're doing the face-ups. And at first I was like, you know what? I can do this with something else. And so I bought my first Cleo Denial from Monster High. And I bought, I believe it was Krylon. And it's used to spray canvases, I believe, to set the canvases. So I tried that. And it kind of worked where I was able to draw on it. But over time, it made the rubber, the vinyl face really, really sticky. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's ruined. I need to actually get Mr. Super Clear.
Yeah.
But it's expensive, you guys. It's like 20 to 30 sometimes.
Yeah, it's expensive and it's toxic. You have to make sure that you use it with the right
ventilation.
Well, I mean, you need to use it smartly.
Yeah, well, at first I was doing the whole keep your don't breathe, keep your breath, and then run as fast as you can back to the house. That's honestly what I did before getting a mask. So yeah, you guys, if you're trying to repaint with Mr. Super Clear, wear a mask.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, and get an expensive one because the particles are really small.
You have to change the filter. Of mask to use.
Yeah, don't go out here with your COVID-19 mask and think that you got it. You need something much more than that.
But see, I think you can combat COVID-19 with the Mr. Super Clear mask. Maybe.
Okay, now that makes
Maybe.
sense.
Yeah.
I would use that mask for more things than just Mr.
Mhm.
Super Clear.
So when you saw these when you saw them redoing the repaints, and that is that how you really got started with your art, is just following them? Were you
Yeah.
artistic before? I mean, when you were playing with your dolls, were you doing faces or you were just redressing them?
No, I was just redressing them.
Okay.
For me, dolls were just an expression, just to play with. But I've always loved customization. I'm a gamer at heart. I love The Sims, and that's where you really are able to
Mm-hmm.
create virtual characters, you know?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I did draw. I draw a lot. I like sketching. And at the time I never really have, when you love art, but you don't necessarily know what direction to go
Mm-hmm.
with.
Hmm.
Because I've done digital media, digital art, I've done sketching, I've done pastels, but none of them are like, I can do this all the time, you know?
Right.
Hmm.
And when I did the dolls, at the time it was just kind of like, ooh, I want to make this character because I've never seen it in a doll before, like in a
Hmm.
doll form. And that's kind of how I got started, was making all of these characters that I loved growing up or
Mm-hmm.
love currently, and I just never see them in doll form. I mean, they could
Hmm.
have action figures, but that's not the same as doll in terms
Right.
of style and scale. So I think that's how it was. I mean, when I first repainted the Cleo Denial, it wasn't to create a different character. It was just to, in my head, oh, I want to give her my style of eyes. If you are able to draw, because I was very confident going into it, I was like, I know how to draw. Like, I can draw a good eye. But drawing on a 3D face on a doll is
Right.
very, very different. And
Okay.
it's not the same. So
Then
it
it's
took a
not the
few
same as
tries.
drawing it on a flat piece of paper, right?
Yeah,
Or a
no, no, no,
canvas,
no,
right? Yeah.
no.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why Monster High and Ever After High are good practice faces, because specifically Ever After High, they do have a flatter face,
Hmm.
where the eyes aren't really molded. Because the Monster High, the eyes are molded a little
Okay.
bit. So
Hmm.
Ever After High, you can go crazy with any eye style that you want. So it's just really fun.
Oh,
But yeah,
that's
that's how I
interesting. I didn't
started,
know
and
that.
I recorded it on YouTube. I've been on YouTube since 2010, but I've just been uploading like random stuff, trying to make it big on YouTube. So I had like dance covers, I had vlogs and all of that, but none of them really picked up. And so when I started sharing my art, it did. And so I just continued.
I'd like to ask you a question, and we
hmm
asked this of like all the artists.
hmm
Are you able to make a living with your art?
Yeah, I'm able to, like, through YouTube though,
Hmm.
specifically.
Right.
I do sell some dolls, but that's only if I need space in my doll room, or if the dolls in my head would arrive safely. Because some of the dolls that I made now recently are very fragile, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I don't know if you're gonna survive this, girl. The transit, I don't think it'll survive. And I think that's why I hesitate to
Mm-hmm.
sell. And at the same
Okay.
time, you never know how the new owner will take care of them, because
Yeah.
we hold our dolls very, very gently. We don't touch the faces, or we hold them by the legs only. So in my head, there's just certain ways that I would do things that I don't think others would. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you might not be treated well.
Like
So,
giving your child away to somebody else.
right. And so when I
Oh.
did sell, I had like some mini cards. I'm like, don't touch the faces, brush them if they get dusty, something like that. Um, yeah.
That's good to know, because people pay
Yeah.
hundreds of dollars, and sometimes even more than that for dolls.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
you need to know how to take care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if I did realize that if they are spending hundreds of dollars on these dolls, I'm sure they would
Right.
know, at least they would have an idea on how to actually take care of them and how to handle
Right.
them correctly. Yeah.
But it's still hard. It's still hard to give them up. That's what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
saying. So I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you, when you mentioned that you were on YouTube, since what you said 2010. 2010. And then you were adding new things to see if anything would click for you, right? If anything would happen. And then you started doing your repaints. When did you start doing the repaints? How long was it before you started that from 2010?
I should have researched this. I believe it was 2016.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, 2016, maybe 2015. Yeah, I mean, it was most of my dolls. I think I've only had maybe 3 that I did not record. Like I did not put on YouTube.
Okay.
So most of my methods, like the evolution of my skill is definitely documented on YouTube.
That's great,
cool.
though. Yeah, that's really great.
Excuse me.
Because I didn't document, obviously, my first one because I was testing it out. Yeah, I think there's like only a handful, maybe 5 dolls that I didn't record. So the rest of everything was made in the intention of making a video. You know, that was the whole intention of the repaint, is to repaint this. And I think the reason also why I had a momentum going is because Ever After High was at its peak at the time. And that's where they had new characters all the time. They would create new dolls. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, I want to give her my style. Okay, so 2014, I scrolled all the way. 2014 was my first repaint video of Raven Queen from Ever After High. But yeah, so every time they come up with new characters, I'm like, okay, I want to give her my face, you know? So it just kind of started building up. And then I was like, I have an extra of this certain doll. Let me turn her into a different character. So yeah, it was just really, really fun. And like I said, I was watching all other doll videos and getting inspired by the process of it. And so, yeah, I tried my best to make it as tutorial of a video as possible, but I'm not sure if I'm a good teacher.
No, I mean, I've seen them. Yeah, I think you're good.
I think you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you explain why you're doing what you're doing.
I don't think you would have that many followers if you were not a good teacher.
Well, because I don't think I can, I hate doing voiceovers for videos. So I'm like, you do this, you do that. I don't really...
But
everybody learns differently too, you know.
Yeah,
that's true.
So yeah, I mean, I was very impressed when I saw your videos.
Well,
oh, that works.
Like any other art, there's no one right way to do it.
Right.
So they can just get one thing from my video, and I'll be really happy if they get inspired by one technique that I did and that they're doing, and I'm like, okay, I did my job.
Like I saw the one that you did for the Powerpuff Girls. I have because I have a confession. My son loved the Powerpuff Girls. I'm not gonna. He may not be wanting me to say that, but I'm just gonna say it. My youngest son, who actually lives in Japan right now, but he loved the Powerpuff Girls. I remember he was growing up like, why do you like the Powerpuff Girls? He loved the Powerpuff Girls. So when I saw it, I just fell out. I was just like, this is so cool.
Was it the original or the reboot?
No, it was the original. He's 20. He's almost 30.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, well, the original was more action based.
Yes, it was
badass. So,
it really was. Yeah. That's what he would come. And I mean, like, I'll be like, okay. But so when I saw you doing the Powerpuff Girl, I was like, I was excited. It took me back to him watching it and enjoying it. And then I love your Betty Boop because I love Betty Boop, and so it was great. I just found your art to be really, really beautiful. You do beautiful work. You really do.
And see, that's why I like creating these already made characters, because it's my way to kind of fangirl.
Right.
Fanboy with them. Because growing up, I never really connected with the other people who would watch the same shows, the same animes, or read the same comics as I did. And so making these established characters from my childhood or even currently, it's kind of like a way to fanboy with other people who has seen it or likes the character, And so that's why I just like to take my spin on it. And technically, I mean, most of the dolls that I have made are fan art. So they're great. Yeah. I love them.
Yeah, we do. So I wanted to ask you a question. You've gone through this whole thing with YouTube when YouTube was talking about removing things that were geared toward children.
Yes.
And so here you are working with dolls, not necessarily being geared toward children. Because I don't see your videos that way. But how did that go for you? What was that like?
It was it was a crazy time. Like definitely didn't know what the future was gonna uphold. I was like, oh my God, I need to change my characters because some of them were actually, I mean, literally from my childhood, like, cartoons. They're cartoons. So it was just crazy. And YouTubers, every YouTuber who were like a kid at heart, like they had to fight that because they were saying that anything that's cartoon will be transported to the kids app. But I guess the argument is that these cartoons were made years ago. So the people who watch these cartoons are now
Mm-hmm.
adults.
Right.
Mhm.
But they're still cartoons. But overall, the whole system was just outdated. So right now, I think the only ones that are actually made for kids are like nursery rhymes or like actual obvious child content,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm
Mhm.
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So far, I think my videos are good. We all of the doll community, we had a group chat. We were like, we're gonna put a warning in front of our videos saying that our materials are toxic. We are gonna be
That would
using,
work.
yeah, we're using knives. We are using toxic clay and sprays. So some people are still doing that. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna emphasize the materials as much as I can. So far it's good. So it's a hit or miss platform. I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for the people who follows me. And I wouldn't be here literally. I mean, it's so cliche, but literally, you won't be here without the people who backs you up and follows you. So I'm really, really thankful that through all of this YouTube mess, that they're still there.
Yeah, we're still
Yeah.
there.
Thank you, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And bringing our friends to come and check you out.
Right. Exactly.
We got your back.
Thank you, thank you.
So, what do you have planned coming up here?
More fan art? I've been trying to do original characters, but in my head, I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna be exciting. And sometimes most of them are a little too sexual too. So I'm like, okay, either I make that and it's fun, but YouTube might think it's too sexual, so maybe not. But yeah, more characters from my childhood. I love them. I love anime and video games, so I'm trying to do that. And I'm also trying to make dolls from people's requests. They want me to continue the Powerpuff Girls to
Okay.
yeah, so
That's
there's
funny.
some because I used to do like stories at the end of my videos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's literally my way of actually playing with them.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of had the storyline with the Powerpuff Girls and why Miss Bellum is missing. So it's like my take on it. So yeah, more of
Well, my
those,
daughter.
hopefully.
Oh, I was going to say, if you're taking requests, my daughter loves CL Phantom Hive. So,
Oh yeah, from Black Butler, right? Black
yeah.
Butler, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I tried
She loves
watching that,
him.
and there's something I don't know why I think I've only seen like 5 episodes, maybe not even five, maybe less.
Okay.
But it could I guess it just didn't hook me. But I
Yeah.
definitely love the character designs. I really love them.
Yeah. My daughter did I'll send you the information from it. My daughter
Yeah.
did a competition. She's a cosplayer, and she did a
Oh,
demon CL. And
nice.
she did, I can't remember if it's 10 or 12-foot wide wings that are articulated.
Oh,
So I'll send it
wow.
to you.
Are
Yeah,
they
it's
like
really cool.
mechanical?
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
were.
gosh. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my,
they
that's
open and
amazing.
close. Yeah, I'll
Nice,
send it to
nice.
you. My daughter's a serious cosplayer.
Nice. Here,
She's
I learned a lot from cosplayers too, because I do drag sometimes, so I know drag technique that I sometimes put on my dolls, and I kind of cosplayed before, so I do that too. And I feel
okay.
like all of these worlds, they just need to mix. They just need to
Yeah,
merge
there's a
because
lot
the
of
techniques,
overlapping. Yeah,
yeah, there's a lot of overlapping techniques, but they want to define it as just for cosplay or just for drag. But
yeah.
I love it when I see drag queens interpret like superheroes because
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely like the hyper glamorized
Right. Right version
heroes.
of that. Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you'll see like Wonder Woman, but her wig is like Marie Antoinette big.
Yeah.
So I love him so much. It's
That's
just
awesome.
hyper glamorized and I mean obviously hyper feminine sometimes, depending on the drag that they do. But yeah, it's just fun. And I follow both type of techniques on Instagram. I follow a lot of like cosplay wig makers.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is absolutely insane how they style all of these wigs that
Yeah.
drag queens would definitely appreciate. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. There's
obviously
some
I try
great
to do
art.
that with the dolls. Hmm.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
My daughter and I spend a good amount of time. And she goes, "Oh, come and look at this," So we see lots of different, people doing things and
Yeah.
in love with Violet Chachki and
Oh my God.
you know,
I have the tattoo of her on my arm. She's my
she's
favorite.
amazing.
She definitely got me inspired with like I love drag, but I never understood. She opened the world for me in terms of merging fashion, drag, and also pinup and fetish culture.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh my God, this is so, so good, you know?
yeah.
And it just started. Everything just started. Do you guys know Suresh NY on YouTube?
I
No, I
don't know
don't.
if
I
I
don't.
do.
You guys need to interview him. He
Okay, we'll look
is
him up.
so amazing. I will send you guys details. He's
Okay,
Okay.
amazing. He got me into Silkstone. He
okay,
Yeah, he got me started on the obsession with collecting silkstones
okay,
because he is such a good salesman. He's a doll collector and he would do these reviews on YouTube. He also sews and I believe he repaints sometimes. But yeah, like the way he romanticized the fabrics. He romanticized how a dart is made, what a Dorsey pump is. All of this, I'm like, oh my God, this is mind-boggling. I didn't know that Barbie started with like the Dior new look type of look because I only knew Barbie with the superstar, like the 90s Barbie.
Right.
yeah,
That's my
Hmm.
childhood Barbie. And
yeah.
also the Barbie of today, like the contemporary ones. So I never knew that Silkstone started with a Silkstone, like the original one. I just did my research because of him and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So definitely one of my bucket list is to even have a build Lily. It's like one, a build Lily, and then maybe a number one Barbie.
Oh
Although I don't
yeah,
think I'll appreciate it as much. She'll probably be in the box.
and that's where you want to put her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
because that
true.
you're gonna that's money.
But I definitely want a build Lily. I want Barbie's origins.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you know Julian Kalinowski?
I just listened to the podcast, so
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So Julian's dolls look a lot like Build Lily.
Yeah, I saw the
Yeah.
I researched after the podcast. I was like, "Oh yeah,
Okay.
they're amazing." And they have like the vintage styles as well. So yeah, those are some of the goals in terms of older vintage dolls. They're great.
Yeah, this has been a great interview. We haven't spoken to anyone before about what's happened with YouTube and with the kids and not and how that's affecting the artists. So thank you for
Mhm.
updating us on that.
Yeah, I mean, and hopefully it gets better for YouTubers because I mean we love the platform.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely it's such a mixture of people and it really is it brings people together. I get surprised every time I get like an international comment that I don't understand. I'm like, "Oh my God, that's amazing." Like I have an audience somewhere over there. So it's just really, really great. And obviously, it's hard because art censorship is such a thing
Hmm.
Yeah.
online because obviously you can't control the audience. You don't know who's there. You don't know what age they are. You know,
Right.
the kids are
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
even though it is art, there's still some guidelines that you do have to follow.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
us as artists, it's hard to do that. We understand it, but it's hard to control the art.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Because I've seen sculptures where they do like realistic, actually realistic human bodies. Like, you know, the nipples are there, the body rolls are there, like literally realistic, anatomically correct type of beautiful bodies. and it's sad that they are like censored. And by censored, I don't mean like literally putting a blur. Censored by not making money off of it, being demonetized, and not being completely shared by the YouTube's algorithm. Because that's
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like when you see all of those random recommendations that they put out, it's like you want one of that to be your videos, you know?
Yeah. I for me, what's sad about that is we have all this violence and gore. I mean, you can see
Yeah.
people getting their head cut off,
Yeah.
cut off, blown up, all this stuff you can see, but you can't see a naked body. What's sexual about a naked body?
You
Everybody's
know,
got a
thank you
body.
for bringing that up again. That was actually one of our heated talks when in our group chats for the doll people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how are some of these YouTubers doing these violent pranks? And they're not funny. They're not, none of them
Yeah.
are mostly funny, and they're getting all of these publicity, all of these views, and obviously it just it's just the generation, I think, and what people actually like. So that's just a society problem. But you can have that. That's fine. But don't censor the artists for making art. So that's kind of why it was really, really frustrating to see everyone gets the glory for, problematic things.
Yeah.
And us YouTubers who are doing art or sharing fun and, lighthearted stuff are getting demonetized for it. So that was the frustrating part, definitely. But
Yeah.
we're doing our best to evolve with the system. We're doing our best to work within the guidelines.
Yeah.
So for me, I was definitely thinking that if I was to make if it was like almost a really naked doll, like hyper stylistic type of doll, I would probably have to upload two types of videos, one censored and one uncensored.
Yeah.
That might work out. So hopefully it does in the future. And yeah, because I'm trying to do more realistic type of bodies. I've been wanting to do like a really fully figured type of doll, like Miss Georgette's doll, and to do articulation with bigger dolls. I tried to do it with the Ursula doll that I made,
Uh-huh.
but I had to just make her kind of like a sculpture because I was having material issues. We couldn't go out, and things were closed
Yeah.
during that time. So, but hopefully
Yeah.
I'm able to do more fully figure type of dolls, because those are really, really needed right now. Um,
Hmm.
for just for as a society, we need to see that be normalized, and more, more diversity, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be the
Mhm.
case. The good thing is that people are using dolls as a way to, showcase all different types of people. That's
Yeah.
been and giving them life in different types of
Mhm.
environments. We
Mhm.
just talked to somebody who help young people code or information
Ooh.
about science and things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. So
yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah,
just like it's such a great canvas to work on creating dolls, and so
yeah.
it gives them opportunity to do so many things. So.
Well, it's just a really good medium, it's a 3D object, so
Mm-hmm.
you can really do so much with it. I mean, without restrictions of articulation, you can really do so much. Yeah, and for me, I think I've checked the box for queer dolls with my drag queens,
Mm-hmm.
and some are trans. And so now I think I have to do body diversity, color diversity. Those are
Right.
what I'm trying to do for the future. And it's just kind of scary. Like for me, I'm very confident making queer dolls because I'm queer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I hope that when I make like fully figured dolls, or if I make more people of color dolls, that there's no appropriation,
Right.
including in that, because that's hard. It's harder to do something that you're not, like, it's not your culture, but you just want
Right.
to shed beauty in it, and you want to kind of give a shout out to it, shed light to it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I will do more research on this
I'm sure you'll
and
be
do that.
wonderful at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that part of the thing is just being true and honest to that
Hmm.
culture.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as
Yeah.
you're true and honest, I
Yeah.
don't think that there'll be any any issues. I think that the whole appropriation issue is, for me, I can't speak for everyone else, a lot of it is disrespect. So you don't understand how a kimono works.
Yes.
So you go and you make a doll and you put a kimono on her and you tie your kimono in the front.
Wow. Yes.
That's something very different than a kimono in the back.
Yes. What's with hair too? You know, it's the thing with black hair and being appropriated. And that's why I was doing research on that, because I wanted to make a black character and I want to give her natural hair.
Right.
Like, you know, with baby hairs and everything. And I was researching so much about this and why it's appropriated. And you don't call it box braids because that's not what it is. And I think it is sad that and I'm a part of it. I was in the notion that these are new styles, but they're not. They have already existed. They're already from a culture before. So pay homage to that culture. Call it what they named it, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what for the baby hairs, I believe the Runway are using it and they're calling it something type of tendrils, but it's not. It's just baby hairs. It's the edges, you know?
Yeah.
So I was researching that and I wanted to make sure that I have the facts correct and where it all started, because hair is a big thing,
yes,
you know?
in our culture. But, you know, the fact that you're doing that work shows that, you know, that you respect that. Some people, like Tammy said, some people won't even do the work. They'll just assume something, or they'll see a picture and say, oh, that's what I'm going to do. But without doing the work behind that, you know, and what that means. So, So.
Thank those who are putting these people, like, educating the people, because obviously I wouldn't have known that they're not box braids. I wouldn't have known that if people didn't call Kim out. I believe Kim was referencing someone else who was white. I don't know her name, but it was a movie and she had that type of braids. So she was like, oh, I'm having that type of braid. And then people started calling her out because that's not even the girl's braids, you know, it's another culture's braids. So I'm doing my homework. Hopefully I can do that for future dolls and help represent more of that, you know.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we really do.
Of course.
So this has been a wonderful show, just wonderful. And thank you for helping us to understand not only what you're doing as a repainter and a customizer, but also expressing how important it is to be true to the culture of other people, because we're seeing a lot of people who are doing artistic, you know, quote unquote, artistic things that are very offensive, you know, the blackface and, you know, so thank you for being true to the culture.
Yeah,
and to not just our culture, but two cultures. And we look forward to speaking with you again at some point. Yeah.
Anytime. I'm here every week.
Okay.
we HeXtian.
We definitely, we all need an escape right now. So thank you so much for providing this escape. It's been hard to create right now, like in terms of work on the dolls. It's been very hard. Nothing is inspiring, you know. I really appreciate you guys inviting me. That's why I was like, oh my God, hopefully they invite me sooner, because I cannot wait any longer.
Next time you want to talk, just call us up and say, hey, let's do a show.
Okay. No, I got you. We need that. And I think the only thing right now that I've been trying to post artistic messages through my Instagram. So that's the only artistic thing I've been doing with dolls.
Right.
I've been doing photography with Black Lives Matter.
Nice.
I'm trying, because I feel like if I just put a slogan on my Instagram, my audience will just scroll up, you know?
Right.
Because I need to know my audience and they follow me for dolls.
Yeah.
And so I need to kind of merge those two. I need to merge the movement and what I do together.
Right.
And you know, I'm gonna keep doing that until we end this. People are saying it's a race war. It's not. We're ending a race war that's been going on, you know, and people didn't understand that.
We are fighting for equality. We are fighting to be Americans. And this whole Black Lives Matters things is about equality. It's people are just asking to be treated with dignity and respect.
Well, I
That's
think
real.
people don't
Oh, it is.
understand that America
Yeah.
is not a homogenous country. There's
Right.
no
Yeah.
one right race here. It's a melting pot of
Right.
Yeah.
Of
everyone.
everybody. Exactly.
And yeah, I think people are not understanding that we need to educate also other cultures, not just the ones here in the US, but it is a global thing. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's
We're seeing
the
it
Black Lives
happening.
Matter movement
Mm-hmm.
is the protest is everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Really
Yeah.
we have
is.
to do our
Yeah.
job. We have to know our audience and we have to educate them. And I
Mm-hmm.
was saying to the queer folks that without Black trans people, during Stonewall,
Yeah. There
we
would be no
wouldn't be
pride.
able, yeah, we wouldn't be able to wear heels out in public. You won't be
Mm-hmm.
able to say, "Hey, Queen,"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
freely because of the Black trans people who fought those war.
Right.
And unfortunately, the war is still happening and we have
Yeah.
to continue the fight. And
Yeah.
right now, social media is the most powerful thing. And not everyone can go protest, but we can definitely reach out to
Mm-hmm.
every single follower that follows us
Right.
and
Exactly.
spread that
That's
message.
right.
It was very scary, like just thinking about politics in my audience, because I know that not everyone is queer in my audience and not everyone is
Right.
left, you know? So I definitely understood that, but I was like, but this is this, I'm this. This is what I believe in. I need to, show people that. And obviously, it's just what's right. We're not fighting to not wear our mask. We're fighting for people to be treated equally. Mhm.
And we need to understand that, like, you look at history and you look at how many things were created by Black people or queer people
Mhm,
or
mhm.
disabled
Yeah,
people, and
yeah.
it's like it's crazy.
And I think the important thing is to not speak for them, but speak with them.
Yeah, it is important. It really
Mhm.
is.
Just because we talk to people who are doll creators and artists and everything like that doesn't mean that they don't have a voice too, about what's
Yeah,
Mhm.
happening, and this is what's happening in this world. So,
and that they don't care,
and that they don't care, right?
yeah,
So,
It's affecting all
anymore.
of us. It's not a white versus black. It's
It's not.
racist versus everyone who's not,
right.
and
Yeah,
everyone who's been killed because of their skin color. And honestly, it's just really, really hard to even, like I said, it's hard to work.
To be
yeah,
continually to be inspired, right? Yeah, I get
Hmm.
that.
yeah,
I get, and I really, hope that even through all of this, you find your inspiration to, to create your dolls. But I think at the same time, your inspiration is where it's going to be more powerful creating the things that you are going to be creating during this time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we just keep moving. We have to
Hmm.
have the conversations, and so the end of this year will end up being much more.
A
I don't
utopia.
know. Yeah, well,
at
right,
least
exactly.
much more
Much
understanding
more empathetic,
of the
right?
other.
Much more
Yeah.
Yeah,
empathetic. So,
yeah,
well, it has really been an amazing interview. This has been a
Thank
very
you.
interesting. I love this interview. We definitely want to thank you for the interview. And your work is
Thank
beautiful,
you.
and I'm so excited that you are continuing to do the work that inspires you and inspires us as well. And trust me, people are learning from you every day. So definitely
I'm
teaching
glad.
people
Thank you.
a lot of things just by listening, just by watching your videos and the art that you create and the beautiful dolls that you create too. So we love it.
I think
Thank you
people are
yeah,
so much.
fascinated with the process also. They're,
Yes.
yeah,
if they don't do it, because I feel like most people don't do it anyway. Like they don't they don't customize, but they
yeah,
love the process. And
Yes.
so,
Yes.
yeah.
you know
Seeing
what? I'm
something
here
come
to
to
show it.
life is
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yes. And that's what you do. You do that
Mhm.
well. So thank
Yeah.
you
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you for
Yeah.
being in the doll world. Oh, before we go though, just let people know where they can find you.
Oh,
Maybe
yes.
some people who aren't doll followers, they listen to the show and they want to know how
Mhm.
they could reach out to you or find your work.
Yeah, you guys can follow me at HeXtian. That is HeXtian on Instagram and also on YouTube. I make and customize dolls of my childhood. I would love for everyone to come join our coven. I'm trying to make this happen, but I don't think it's catching up. The House of Hex. So yes.
Oh,
Nice. I like that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we
Very
were
cool.
if we were a ballroom house, it would be a house of hex.
That'd
Okay.
be cool.
Very
The House of
cool.
Hex.
I like it.
Yes. It was really, really fun. And thank you. Appreciate this. And
Right.
I'm so glad that you guys reached out. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on
Thank you,
In the Doll
guys.
World with
Thank
us.
you.
We appreciate it. And thank you for listening to the show too and passing it on. We really appreciate that.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Okay,
All right.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for listening to In the Doll World. Me and Tammy really hope that you enjoyed the show. Please don't forget to share our podcast with other doll enthusiasts such as yourself. And if you would like to leave a message on how you enjoyed the show, or you want to suggest any guests that we should interview, as well as share information about what's happening in the doll community in your area, please know that you can reach out to us at georgette.inthedollworld@gmail.com and or tammy.inthedollworld@gmail.com. Also, if you want to see some of the photos we will be posting of our guests as well as the dolls that they talk about on the show, please visit www.inthedollworld.com. And until next week, add a little play into your life by collecting a doll, sharing a doll, or giving a doll a home. Until next week, thank you again for listening to In the Doll World.